It's an unusual setting for me standing here, although I'll tell you, as a leader of a East End building company, I've been in a lot worse situations. So I've been asked to speak about CSR, and I'm glad some of you know something what that is. I was speaking to my dad this morning on the telephone, and he asked what I'm doing this evening, and I told him, and he said, "What's CSR?" So I tried to explain as best I could. And then he said, "Well, that sounds good for winning business." And it is. Well, I'm not a regular speaker. I just finished writing these cards at 3:30 today. So if you could bear with me on that. And rather than tell you the benefits of CSR, I'll just tell you my story. How I started, how the business went, and how CSR has benefited me. So this is card 2. I will introduce Crystal, one of our apprentices, and she'll tell you her journey. And finally, I'll tell you how this has changed and energised me and rewarded me in ways that I never expected. So my story starts in East London. My dad was a builder. I went to school, and in the school holidays I'd work on the building sites. And as a boy I loved it, and I was just going to be a builder, that was it. So I left school and joined my father's business and quickly became an apprentice roofer. That carried on for some time, and then my dad retired. I tried to work with my uncle, who was his partner, but couldn't. So I left and started my own business. That was 25 years ago. We're now forecasting £230 million turnover this year. So I'm quite happy with that. And also, people say to me, it's not all about turnover, but I can tell you it's a healthy profit too. Now, most of the growth has come in the last 10 years, since I started learning about CSR. The construction industry was slow to respond to CSR, so I thought there was an angle there, something to win more business, get a USP, something different from our competitors. So we tried to do that, and fortunately it worked. Of course, we still had to give a great service for a ridiculous price, but that was just a given. We started employing a CSR manager for carrying out added value for our customers, and we now have a dedicated team doing this. And in 2008, we won our largest contract ever. That was £200 million over 10 years. That was quite nice. And I decided that I would get close to this customer as much as I could for the next 10 years after that, and that should see me into retirement. So I started researching about my customer. I found that the customer was Camden Council. I found that 50% of all the residents in social housing that they housed were unemployed. It's now 70%. Now, that was half their customers not paying them. I run a business, and I know that's not good business. And these people weren't working, they were living on benefits, possibly turning to crime, drugs, just generally causing problems for the community and my customer. Now, that's a big socio-economic problem. That's a phrase I've learned since I've been doing this. And I thought I could do something about this. I could really make a difference to people's lives, and I could be a huge help for my customer. I thought they're going to love me and my company. So I put together a plan for a construction training academy, but unlike all the others. My academy would be fast-tracked, and everyone who qualified would be guaranteed a job. This was in 2010. We've had an 85% pass rate, and 78% of all those students are now in sustainable employment. Just to get a feel for that, the national average is 20% throughout the UK in construction training, and in London it's 30%. I think that's quite a good difference. Now, rather than you sending you sleep with all my facts and figures, I'd like to introduce you to Crystal. She's one of our apprentices, and she can tell you her story.